Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another session of Zooming in on the Halal Metropolis, where we're interviewing different members of the Muslim community to see how they're managing amongst the coronavirus crisis and shutdown. Here with me today, we have entrepreneur, activist Chris Abdur-Rahman Blauvelt. He is the founder and CEO of LaunchGood. How are you doing, Chris?
Hey, Salam, I'm great, Razi. How you doing, man?
Walaikum salam. I'm doing good too. How are you holding up? How's your family doing during the coronavirus?
Thank God, alhamdulillah, we're all healthy. Like that's really the most important thing, obviously. We're going a little bit stir crazy, I think, as everyone is as well. But blessed to be in a type of work where it's not affected by this. So I work online, so it's easy for me to do it from home. I miss my co-working space, but I built a little office here and lock the door and try to keep the kids out and get my work done.
So your entire team is now working remotely, and I know that you guys have team members across the country and around the world anyways. So this might not be a huge adjustment for you guys.
Yeah, it's actually not, which is cool for us. We've been a fully remote team for the last 6 years or so. So about 30 employees, but I'm the only one in Michigan, for example. So that's good. Usually people do work in co-working spaces like myself. And so I think all the parents within the company are a little bit burned out. But otherwise, yeah, actually we were pretty well prepared for this.
Yeah, so you guys manage an incredible crowdfunding platform for some pretty amazing projects, and what I know about LaunchGood and Patronicity as well is, particularly with LaunchGood, with Ramadan coming up, there's some pretty major initiatives that get going during Ramadan. What are you guys working on this year?
That's exactly right. Ramadan, for people who don't know, Ramadan for us is like Christmas for Macy's. It's a lot of, about a third of all the year's revenue will come in this 1 month. And so it's a lot of preparation. We just hired, I think, 11 people to get ready for this month. So it's definitely a lot. What we're really excited about is something we have called the Ramadan Challenge. So when you have thousands of campaigns, it can be hard to figure out, what should you support and donate to. But what we do is we set up this challenge where, as a user yourself, a donor, you could come in and say, okay, I want to donate every day for 30 days. We can actually automate the donations for you. And of those campaigns, we're going to just kind of spread the money across all of them, which is really nice to see. And it makes it easy to pick out. But we also have this second element to the Ramadan Challenge, which is like a social media platform. So some people may know there's an amazing Muslim designer from Australia. His name is Peter Gould. And he works directly with us. We've been working for over a year together now. And we've put a lot of work into this year's Ramadan Challenge and creating this like daily experience. And we're really excited for it. And so, yes, there's ways to give, but there's also like the question of the day, for example. And it's going to be like, what's your favorite iftar food? Like samosa, mulakhia, like we'll ask people different questions and we'll actually be able to get like kind of a pulse of the global ummah. So we're going to have, probably 10,000 people from 150 different countries all answering the same questions. And they're kind of silly, kind of fun. That might be nice in a Ramadan like this where you feel locked out of your masjid and locked out of your community. But it's a good reminder that we are still part of a larger community, even if we can't go outside our houses.
Yeah, I'll definitely be looking forward to that. I live alone. I'm just here with my cat, so
Oh, no.
I need meaningful things like this to keep things going.
Oh.
So, I know you're also a part of the bigger entrepreneurship and tech community in Detroit. I know you guys are at the Green Garage
That's
co-working
right, yeah.
space in Detroit. How are things being affected by other people in the community that you're a part of, or the bigger community that you're a part of?
It's a good question. It's definitely having an effect on everybody. The Green Garage is basically shut down now. I can go in there if I need to for emergency, but they're not even delivering mail and stuff anymore, right? And so it all depends on what type of entrepreneur people are. So, for example, there's you probably know him, a Detroit bus company, Andy. I'm going to butcher his last name. I call him
Peter
Andy
Rossi.
D.
Dieter.
Ditos, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see what he's doing now?
Yeah, they're making the
Hand sanitizers.
hand sanitizer. Yeah.
It's just like so wild, which is also very much like him to do something like that. And
Yeah.
so that is a cool thing you're seeing in general right now with a lot of entrepreneurs is they're trying to figure out like what ways can we service greater society right now because people really need help. And so my other company you mentioned at Patronicity, we're doing free fundraising for any business that is trying to do a campaign to keep its doors open. And it's not going to be a life-saving effort, but it might be able to pay for payroll for a month, right? And like right now, every bit helps. And with LaunchGood, we're doing something similar. We're waiving fees related to the COVID type funding. And I just find it very inspiring to see so many people giving to help with this. And they don't really need to. I think Jack Dorsey just gave $1 billion. Bill Gates is committing something like $12 billion. Of course, it's nice to hear that in the first place they have that money, but I don't hear a lot of hedge fund managers doing that same sort of thing. So I'd say in the broader tech community, you're seeing a lot of support, and in Detroit as well, that's being reflected.
Yeah, people are really having to adjust, and sometimes that can lead to some pretty creative solutions to some of the issues that we're dealing with. Tell us a little bit about some of the specific coronavirus campaigns that are on LaunchGood right now. I just was browsing through and I saw a couple that popped up. What are some of the exciting ones that you see on there?
Yeah, it's actually crazy. Like there's like every 3-4 days there's a whole new mega flash corona campaign. It started with a campaign that was a partnership with a few different players like Penny Appeal USA, which is a great Muslim charity in America, along with Celebrate Mercy, which is one of our favorite charities, where they raised over $500,000 for immediate emergency grants for Americans, all Americans, Muslim and people of other faiths. And that just went viral. It was like $500,000. Awesome. Then just over the weekend, we had a new campaign launch between 4 of the most prominent imams in America to help raise money for masajid, for mosques and imams whose jobs are being threatened in this crisis. And that's already raised over $100,000. And then I think it's just 2 days ago. I mean, it feels longer than that, but I think it's just 2 days ago, Imam Khalid Latif out of New York started a campaign to help pay for janazas and the burial of so many Muslims down. And a lot of these Muslim funeral homes are overwhelmed. A lot of them also, the people that are passing may not have the $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 to pay for a burial. And so that campaign raised $200,000 in 24 hours.
Wow, that's amazing.
Amazing. So, it's interesting because we're going through such a difficult economic time right now, but it's, to me, and I could be wrong, it feels like the opposite of the 2008 economic crisis. So 2008, it felt more top down. A lot of white collar workers lost their jobs. A lot of, and I think you were maybe an engineer at the time. So, like a lot of our friends who were engineers lost their jobs and people in tech but everyone still was eating food, going to restaurants, going to grocery stores, going to gas station.
Yeah.
Now it's opposite. Like, okay, actually a lot of tech people are fine. They just get on Zoom like we are and they just work from home. And a lot of the blue collar workers, they're the ones that are out of work. And that's 16 million in count the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Now, how does that translate to something like LaunchGood? Even as bad as the economy is, as bad as the stock market is, I think the traditional donor who can give $100 is still able to give $100. So that's a good thing that we're able to see. And people are stepping up and, pledging their stimulus checks, pledging just out of their own pocket to help those who really do need the help right now. And there's a lot of people that need help right now.
I know, absolutely. One of my favorite things about LaunchGood is how the LaunchGood community mobilizes so quickly to raise funds for acute disasters or relief that's needed for an issue, like the Jewish cemetery that was vandalized, or the Tree of Life synagogue, or these other disasters that happen. And so I'm not surprised at all to see all this mobilization and organizing happening through the LaunchGood platform. And inshallah, you guys are able to do that for the foreseeable future. On a personal note, I wanted to ask you, it's something that's on everybody's mind these days with Ramadan coming up. How are you guys planning this year for your Ramadan with your family, and what are you looking forward to, and what are the adjustments that you're going to be making?
That's a great question. So normally I'm very involved in Ramadan. I think last year you call it like the education chair, something in my masjid, right? So I had to either give the khatira or the talk during the evening prayers, or make sure someone else did. So again, very involved. And this year it's like, not only am I not doing that, I'm not even going to the mosque. And the mosque is just across the street. Like I can actually look out the window and see it, but I can't go, right? And I thought, okay, what am I going to do this Ramadan? And I thought, this is actually a great time for me to focus on my family. So I'm going to do my best to try to make it a really family-centered Ramadan. My wife was like, what does that mean? I'm like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But my kids are a little older now. My kids are going to be 5 and 2, or 5 and 2, inshallah. So at least the 5-year-old can appreciate some of this stuff more. They do pray with us, sort of. We'll see how it goes, but I am going to try to make it a little bit more family oriented, like praying together as much as possible, maybe trying to read Quran together, read a little wisdom together, have a little ritual around the breaking of the fast, the iftar. I know it's a little bit cliche, but it's like, that whole idea of you're going to look at the glass half empty or half full. What a merciful religion we're in, that anything that happens to us is good, even if it doesn't appear to be. And something like this, if we had a habit of going to the mosque, I'm sure that God will reward us with that same reward, even though we're not able to go to the mosque. And so we can for me at least, I'm going to try to be in that mindset, like fully enjoy the Ramadan at home, assume that I get the same rewards as I did as a mosque, but now I also have an opportunity to do something new and maybe pretty, formative for my kids in a formative years of their life.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it.
Does anyone ever ask you what you're doing for Ramadan with your cat?
Probably kind of similar. We're just going to be, I'm just going to be focusing on, stuff that has been just neglected, I think, spiritually, and kind of good practices that I think in typical Ramadans, which are so social, you tend to forget about your own personal practice, personal spiritual practice. And so I'm hoping to pick up on a couple of things, just bring more intention to, prayers and practice. And it's hard because not only is Ramadan a very social time, but it's also a very charitable time. So, we're going out a lot, you're donating, money, time, energy to different causes. And so I think for me, the big challenge is being an extroverted personality of how to maintain a rich spiritual experience through the month, but then doing it on my own, because I get a lot of fulfillment from being around other people, so that's going to be my big challenge. So
it's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. Yeah. But inshallah, we'll get through it. So, and hopefully things like this will help, connecting with our friends and family. So, but thank you so much for your time. You're doing amazing work, as always. And we hope to see you keep doing big things with LaunchGood and the other projects that you're working on. Thanks again, and have a good rest of your day. Take care.
Thank you, and same for you with Halal Metropolis. And definitely people check out launchgood.com/Ramadan if you want to join the challenge. I think you'll be very impressed. Launchgood.com/Ramadan.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.